I'm Scott Allen Miller. It is the 18th of October, 2022, and this is my vlog of daily life in Leon, Nicaragua. Welcome to the show, and I'm so glad that you are all here. Today is Tuesday, and it is a relatively just work day because we were gone last week. I've been catching up on the video stuff. Now I've got to catch up on some work stuff because there's a lot to do. And so today we're going to do some fun stuff. We are going to go do some food exploration here in Nicaragua. Just worked out that we managed to do that. And I'm trying to move the microphone down a little bit. I'm realizing that my voice just is too much. And we've got one of these. I'm going to show this. There's always someone driving by who has a speaker and blast music. Or blast messages in the street, but I rarely know why. Anyway, he just came by, but he went, so we're good. I'm trying to move the microphone down because my voice just for me to sound the way that I want to sound on the show, I need to speak kind of animated. And when I do that, it's too much for the microphone, so I moved it down some. But if I hold the microphone right in front of my mouth and talk softly, it sounds really good, but then I'm holding it. So I'm just always trying to figure these things out, but I have to make it easy for when I'm just out and about. I don't have time to really do a big complex setup because of the amount of video that we do. Anyway, this week is going to be searching for houses. We're going to be doing that throughout the week. I do have some stuff coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be able to show you some houses that we go to look at tomorrow. That's going to be cool. And today we're going to look at some food stuff here, which I think is fun. We're going to investigate a little bit. It just works out great. And we've got a throwback at the end. Other than that, it's really pretty much a chill day of me in the office getting work done. And tonight, Stranger Things with the girls. So I'm not going to be doing any walk around. Really soon, I'm going to be heading up to the neighborhood around, or the colonia near Recoleccion, the Iglesia Recoleccion, because there was a couple requests for that. It's a really nice portion of El Centro, and there's a beautiful hotel up there, a really beautiful church. The church is crazy, and a nice area. And we're up there often because Sundance, one of the restaurants we go to quite often, because Paul really likes the steak there, and the girls like the fish tacos there, and they do cocktails, which is not something you get done very often. Just in Nicaragua in general, cocktails are not a big thing. All that's done up there, so that is a place we're going to be heading to in the next few days. This weekend coming up, gonna be staying in town. No plans to go anywhere. Have some friends coming in from out of town, as is often the case, especially because we have friends who work for us and they come in and work at the hotel or whatever. So I'm probably going to be on the beach at some point. I don't know exactly when. And we are making plans to do some things with friends of the kids next weekend, so in almost 2 weeks away, which is Halloween. We're going to try to do kind of an American Halloween evening here in Nicaragua. We can't go trick-or-treating because that's not a thing, but we're going to do like candy and probably pizzas, we'll see, and movies, and some like face painting or other activities. These are friends who are a little bit younger. I think 8 and 11, and of course my kids are 11 and 13, so obviously like Liesel face painting is a not things she would normally do, but she is pretty good about being a good sport about those things, so she'll probably get into it anyway. So that kind of stuff we're hoping to do in 2 weeks. This weekend, very chill. Probably a lot of running around dealing with house stuff, because once Dominica gets the bug to be looking at houses, we're going to do a lot of looking at houses. Before I go on to our next segment, I need to move this earlier because I say it at the end, but who's watching at the end, really? I mean, very few of you, and those that do, I really appreciate it. But I would take a moment, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you have friends who might be interested in information about Nicaragua and Central America, travel, just a crazy vlog like this, I would love it if you told them about the show or shared on social media. I only get paid for people who donate through Buy Me a Coffee below. If that's something you want to sponsor, it really means a lot. And obviously there's a little bit of advertising on the show, so we make a couple dollars, help to offset all the costs. There is a lot of cost to making the show and a lot of time, so I really appreciate all the views, likes, shares, and coffees that you guys provide. It means a lot. Please ask your questions below, like and subscribe, all that, and let's go check out our segment. I think this is cool. Street food in Nicaragua. Let's see what we find. One of the great things about living in Nicaragua is all of the food, and we're going to show some street food today. I'm at a fritanga, and we're going to say hi. Hola. And normally fritangas at night make more of comfort food, like family style dining with gallo pinto and all of the fixins that you would normally get for a family dinner, so that you don't have to cook at home and you can go out to a neighborhood fritanga. And like there's one in almost every block. They're very common, and there's a very standard home cooking kind of food available. But sometimes they do specialty items, and sometimes they're open during the day. This particular Fritanga that I come to all the time, and it is starting to rain. I can hear the rain coming as I do this. We're like, oh, it's going to rain early in the day, and it hasn't hit me. It just hit me just now. I could hear it coming over the trees. La lluvia está aquí. And so today, though, the Fritanga that I normally come to is open for breakfast and lunch, but it's just snacks. So I want to show what we have here, because I don't normally get to come out in the light. Normally it's dark and I don't get a chance to film. I will come out and film the Fritanga in the dark sometime. I got to bring out a camera and have a camera person, but I wanted to come by and show what's here today. So this is like snacks, and a lot of this is similar to what you would get when we get on the bus. So I show some of this sometimes, but these are fried plantains. This is tajadas. So it's basically like a potato chip, but made with plantains. And for those not familiar, plantains are related to a banana, but not as sweet. This is fried yuca. So the same thing, but yuca, which is also known as tapioca in the United States, is much more like a potato. So these are even more like potato chips. You can get potato chips here, but they're much less common in home cooking. They're more in restaurants. Oh, and we've got the camera freaking out there for a minute. Yep, we keep mentioning it is time for the GoPro 11. These are chicharrones, that's fried pigskin, and these are enchiladitas, which are basically the homemade version of what you know in the United States as Doritos. This is like what Doritos are derived from, and it's a common part of the food. Lastly, we have real yuca. So this is fried yuca chips. This is like big chunks of yuca that's been boiled, and would be closest to mashed potatoes, but they're because yuca is a root, a little bit different than a potato. You don't necessarily mash it, and it's semi-solid, so it's a little bit firmer than mashed potatoes, and you can often eat it out of a bag. Absolutely delicious. It's way better than it sounds. All of these you can get plain and just eat like chips, but there's also ensalada, which is basically a very vinegary coleslaw, very common to this region, and chili, and so you can get it spicy or just with salad on there. And then they're also operating as a pulperia, so we have a lot of the local chips as well. A lot of these you have seen on the channel. Zebus is the standard, like, just plain everyday potato chip. Ranchitas we talk about all the time. There are local Doritos equivalent that's really good. And then the list of Diana stuff from El Salvador. These are from Honduras on the right. Those are Yummy brand. Diana brand is from El Salvador and competes in a lot of the same areas, and you can see you've got your cheese puffs and similar. The alborotos are actually like rice puffs. It's almost like a breakfast cereal, but slightly firmer, so you can eat it as a snack. So that is what we have here, and I just got a whole bunch and have been eating this, and we have a dog hiding in the background. And so this is our local Fritanga. Muchas gracias. And this is where we get food quite often here in Laborio. And I'm not going to step out into traffic because there's actually a lot right now. And so some of these things are like the tajadas and the fried yuca are often available at night as part of dinner. Like, it's really common as a side dish with the food, especially when you add salad to it or whatever. But then some things like the enchiladitas are not very common, and they're actually pretty hard to find on the street. They're really easy to find at the bus station, but not so much just walking around. You can find them, obviously, I just did, but we don't see them that commonly, so that's a special treat for us in many cases. Very affordable, really delicious, and it's so neat that you just walk out on the street and find the stuff. So that is today's street food in Nicaragua. All right, it's time for the throwback to October 18th, 2019. 3 years ago today, what were we doing here on the vlog? Gonna link the vlog for this day down below. Try to have some links to it. You can always go find it or just watch here, but I really do appreciate people watching the old vlogs. It helps out a lot, and they start getting better as we go. Sorry that this is crazy bright. I have an ND filter on the GoPro and it's still this bright. Wow. Okay, so looking back 3 years ago, what was going on today? The fun thing was tonight we finished Trail of the Twister with Liesl and Luciana. This is remains 3 years later, one of my all-time favorite Nancy Drew games. I really like the subject matter. I like how a lot of it was handled. Some of it's pretty goofy, but a lot of it was pretty good. And I really liked how educational it was, and I feel that the girls really got a lot from it. They really seem to have picked up a lot of their tornado safety and knowledge from having played this game. This is one of those ones that I feel like does a better job than a lot of like school and other types of education do. I am noticing that I'm standing right next to, I'm going to show this incredibly bright white car here with the And with that, sorry for the spin. With that, I'm getting like a reflector, and I also have this white door over here. So I'm getting like all this reflected light on my face. So even though I have this insane bright light and this dark shadow in my face, it's so much like fill light coming in. If I step so that that's not happening, watch how dark it, see? That's all reflected light, keeping me, I'm getting a tan from this, by the way. So we finished playing Trail of the Twister. That one was really good. A lot of fun. I love that one. If you're looking for a Nancy Drew to like experiment with, I don't know if it'd be my first choice, but it's pretty decent. And it's one that works pretty well. Some of the older ones were kind of glitchy. So we did that. That was the highlight. My big thing 3 years ago, holy cow, watching this video brought back so many memories. 3 years ago today was the most train wreck of a vendor meeting I've ever had in my life. And go back and watch the video because I go into it a bit. And today I sent a follow-up email that was like, hey guys, just a reminder that you said you were going to do all these things to deal with the fact that we had this entirely unprofessional, completely disrespectful, dishonest meeting. And you had the CEO got involved and said, oh, we're going to do all these things to placate you, and never did any of them, never followed up. And in fact, they tried a phishing attack against us a year or two later. So I followed up to all the original parties and was like, just a reminder that it's been 3 years, and in no way whatsoever has you ignoring us or lying to us about the things you were going to do made it better, nor have we forgotten. And in fact, we're just kept a record that for 3 years, we remember this all went on. And Alan is like, how did you even remember that this happened? I'm like, because I journal it and I save all the emails. So I had all the originals. I didn't like send an email. I responded to their promises of things that they were going to do so that they could look back at their own thing and be like, oh yeah, we totally made those things up and never intended to do them. And yeah, so that was 3 years ago. Don't think I've forgotten, vendor. I know who you are. And we actually ended up, after that meeting, Alan and I got together and I said, we have to make our own product instead of this. This vendor is so bad, we should go with no one. Like, this entire category is bad. And he's like, okay, make it happen. And now we have a vastly better system that actually works at a fraction of the cost. It was an amazing revelation as to just how bad that category of software was and how unnecessary it was. Basically, it's RMM software. Basically, the field is a scam. It's things that enterprises already have solved. You don't need special software for it. Yes, they can be kind of handy in some circumstances. They should not cost very much because the things that they're replacing are free. There's better tools out there in almost every regard, and almost all of them make a big chunk of their money scamming you on other things like selling software you don't need. So getting away from that was a really, really cool deal. But it's funny that I made enough notes that I was able to go back and know everything that happened in that meeting 3 years ago. And journaling, it's a very important thing. Whether it's video or written journaling, it really has a lot of value. I can really feel the sun out here. So that was 3 years ago. Go back and watch the video, give it a like, support the channel. If you'd like to support me, you can buy me a coffee with the links down below. Ask your questions, put all that down there. Thanks for joining me. I hope you like the food that we showed today. That's really interesting. I think I like when we get to do that stuff. And I will see all of you after you subscribe. Hold on, I'm gonna give you just a second. There, I know you gotta bring up the thing, hit the like, make sure you subscribe. Go like, oh wait, I got friends who wanna see this food stuff. I'm gonna go share it with them. And I will see all of you tomorrow.